Have you ever heard words so simple they make your world tilt on its axis? That's what happened to me in our dimly lit kitchen on the edges of Atlanta when my 8-year-old son Jasper gazed up with his innocent eyes and asked, "Dad, how come Mom says Uncle Henry's the only person who understands her when you're working?" Before we delve into this unsettling story, drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. And if this tale grabs you, don't forget to subscribe and show your support. The day had begun like any typical Sunday in our peaceful suburban sanctuary. The griddle sizzled with pancakes while the aroma of maple syrup and fresh coffee wafted through the air. My wife Abigail was softly singing to herself as she filled her coffee cup, her dark tresses casually tied back. At the table, Jasper was lost in his artwork, sketching a spaceship with his crayons, while our 5-year-old Sadie played beneath the counter, building precarious towers with her blocks. It was one of those precious moments that made me believe we'd created something meaningful, something lasting. I'm Caleb Morrow, a 38-year-old construction engineer who travels across the Southeast managing construction sites, building bridges and structures. Abigail, 36, manages operations at a major logistics center downtown, expertly balancing both home and career. After 15 years together, 2 children, and a mortgage on this renovation project we've made our own, life wasn't flawless, but it was genuinely ours. Then Jasper's innocent question struck me like lightning. My spatula stopped mid-air, leaving a pancake to burn on the hot surface. I forced out a laugh, tousled his light brown hair, and dismissed it with "that's just grown-up talk, sport." But inside, my heart sank. Henry Tate, Abigail's cousin, makes his living as a truck driver and resides about 20 miles away in Decatur. He's always been our go-to guy, fixing our air conditioning when it breaks or taking the kids to the playground during my late shifts. I considered him family, trusted him completely. We'd share beers on the porch watching Braves games, sharing meaningless jokes. But now, my son's guileless remark planted a seed of doubt that I couldn't ignore, a shadow of something unsettling that refused to fade. That evening, once the children were asleep, Abigail messaged me from across the living room. She mentioned an urgent inventory situation at the warehouse requiring her attention. I wished her a safe drive, but something felt off. Opening our family tracking app, the one we'd installed for safety, I noticed her location wasn't anywhere near the downtown warehouse. Instead, her marker remained stationary in a quiet neighborhood close to Decatur, roughly 30 minutes away. My heart skipped a beat. I found myself fixated on that pulsing indicator, my finger lingering over her name. I wanted to believe there was an innocent explanation. Maybe the app was malfunctioning, or she'd stopped briefly at a friend's house. But deep down, a voice warned me this might be the first sign of something more concerning. I resisted the urge to call or message. Instead, I sat in silence, with only the refrigerator's steady drone accompanying my racing thoughts. I knew I needed more information before confronting the situation, so I watched that glowing dot, knowing it held answers I wasn't quite prepared to discover. The atmosphere at home grew increasingly tense following Jasper's revelation. I began paying closer attention to Abigail's behavior, catching details I'd previously overlooked. She'd return home after hours, carrying her jacket rather than wearing it, explaining away her tardiness with stories about warehouse shipping complications. Her tone had grown more distant, and she'd avoid eye contact when discussing her workday. One evening, as she removed her boots by the entrance, an unfamiliar floral scent caught my attention. It wasn't her usual citrus perfume, but something more intense and exotic, as if borrowed from someone else's environment. My insides nodded, but I remained silent, pretending to focus on washing dishes. Restful nights became rare. While Abigail took her late showers, steam seeping beneath the bathroom door, I found myself alone with our shared laptop in the kitchen. I hesitated, wrestling with my conscience. Though it felt wrong to pry, that mysterious location marker haunted me. I accessed her browser history, and what I discovered left me stunned. Searches about Georgia divorce procedures, methods for concealing assets from spouses, and information about elementary schools in Charlotte, North Carolina, a city more than 4 hours northeast of Atlanta. My hands trembled as I captured screenshots with my phone, each image feeling like a betrayal. This wasn't just a temporary distance between us. She was orchestrating an exit strategy, and she intended to take our children with her. I couldn't remain still after discovering those searches. The following evening, Abigail sent another text about working late, her message deliberately casual and brief. After tucking the kids in, Jasper's bed covered with his latest rocket ship sketches, Sadie peacefully clutching her favorite teddy bear. I grabbed my car keys. I needed visual confirmation, had to verify that the location marker wasn't just some technical malfunction. The journey to Decatur led me down deserted back roads, with only my truck's engine noise competing with my tumultuous thoughts. I found parking a block away from the app's indicated location, an unassuming apartment complex sheltered by massive oak trees. From my vantage point, the streetlights cast eerie shadows, and I sank lower in my seat, focusing intently on the entrance. Minutes crawled by agonizingly. My grip on the steering wheel grew clammy with nervous anticipation. Just after 11, movement caught my eye as the front door opened. There was Abigail, her hair flowing freely in the dim light. She appeared exhausted, but somehow more animated than I'd seen her at home lately, her posture relaxed and natural. Henry emerged right behind her, wearing his signature trucker cap pulled down low. They lingered on the doorstep, their bodies close enough to touch. No kiss was exchanged. It wasn't necessary. His hand found her shoulder in a familiar gesture, and she instinctively leaned into his touch, their silent interaction speaking volumes. My chest constricted as I fumbled to capture the moment, taking unsteady photographs through the windshield. Though the images were blurry, they captured an undeniable truth I could never forget. The drive home was a blur, not from speed but from emotional turmoil. I couldn't shake the image of Henry's casual touch, that intimate gesture claiming a part of her I'd somehow lost. Memories flooded back of our early relationship, Abigail and me in our tiny first apartment, her genuine laughter at my cooking disasters while we planned our future together. Now she was dismantling that future with someone I trusted. Henry, who'd helped fix our plumbing last summer, who'd played catch with my son in our yard. The betrayal cut deeper because it came from both of them, a wound that felt increasingly raw. Arriving home to our darkened house, I knew Abigail wouldn't return for hours, if at all tonight. I remained in the truck, studying those grainy photos while our children slept peacefully inside, unaware of the impending chaos. Though tempted to confront her upon her return, something held me back. I needed more evidence, needed to understand the full scope of their deception before bringing everything to light. So I waited in silence, strategizing my next move from the shadows. The weight of what I'd witnessed pressed against me like the suffocating Georgia humidity. I couldn't erase the scene of Henry's palm resting on Abigail's shoulder, how she'd melted into his touch. Maintaining a facade of normalcy drained every ounce of my energy. Saturday evening, I manned the grill, keeping my voice level while calling our children to dinner. Abigail sat across the table, absently pushing her coleslaw around with her fork. Her fingers drummed against her water glass, a subtle nervous habit I'd somehow missed before. I casually suggested inviting Henry for dinner sometime soon, mentioning it had been ages since he'd visited. Her smile grew strained, her eyes darting to check her phone. She muttered something about his busy schedule before hastily clearing the table. Later that night, I lay beside her, monitoring her breathing pattern. Instead of the peaceful rhythm of slumber, it came in irregular, troubled bursts. She turned away, her back creating an invisible barrier between us. I waited until her phone illuminated with a notification, its soft light piercing the darkness. When she remained motionless, I carefully slipped out of bed, my heart racing as I crept into the hallway. Months ago, I'd glimpsed her unlock pattern while she juggled groceries. For simple taps, holding my breath, I unlocked the device and delved into her message history. The screen revealed an extensive conversation between her and Henry. My vision blurred as I read through their exchange. She boasted about my obliviousness, how smoothly their plan was progressing. His response promised an imminent meeting, expressing eager anticipation. Another message from her caught my attention, its tone calculating and cold. I've transferred more funds to the account, almost reached our target. My stomach churned as I opened our banking application, verifying the figures. Nearly $30,000 had disappeared from our shared savings, methodically withdrawn over several weeks. Money earmarked for Jasper's orthodontic work, Sadie's early education, our long-planned family vacation. Vanished, transferred beyond my reach. Each subsequent message felt like a physical blow. She discussed Charlotte, their plans for a fresh start after everything settled. He shared a property listing, a brick ranch house featuring a spacious veranda. My trembling hands nearly lost grip of the phone. This wasn't mere infidelity. They were constructing an entirely new existence, preparing to demolish mine. Her final message sent ice through my veins. Kids will adjust, they always do. I imagined Jasper's art supplies, Sadie's beloved teddy, forcibly relocated 4 hours away. My children, unwitting pieces in their calculated game. I frantically captured images of every incriminating message, my teeth grinding together. The bathroom light suddenly illuminated the hallway. Quickly, I locked her phone, returned it, and slipped into the guest bedroom, my heart thundering. She walked past, unaware, her shadow stretching across the wooden floor. After silence reclaimed the house, I collapsed onto the spare mattress, gazing blankly upward. This wasn't some casual affair. Not a momentary lapse I could eventually forgive. It was an intricate deception, methodically crafted right beneath my unsuspecting gaze. Henry, the same man who'd shared laughs with me in our garage, reminiscing about past adventures. Abigail, my partner in building this home, one careful step at a time. Together, they were systematically erasing me. Dawn arrived mercilessly early. I served breakfast to the kids, planting kisses on their foreheads as they excitedly discussed their upcoming school day. Abigail hurried out, claiming work commitments, her handbag swinging as she left. I watched her vehicle disappear, then turned to face Jasper and Sadie, their innocent expressions untouched by worry. Fury coursed through me, but their laughter kept me grounded. I refused to let their world shatter. Back in the kitchen, I reviewed those damning photographs again, the evidence stark and undeniable. The battle was far from over. I maintained this charade temporarily, keeping my discoveries hidden. They assumed I remained ignorant, but my eyes were now wide open, and I would methodically expose their deceit. That night's discovery of Abigail's phone messages changed everything. Her presence became unbearable, each glimpse tainted by knowledge of her schemes with Henry. Yet I maintained my performance, playing the role of the unsuspecting husband. Monday morning, after dropping Jasper and Sadie at school, watching their enthusiastic farewell waves, I drove directly into downtown Atlanta. Navigating through bustling traffic and towering buildings, I located a legal office I'd researched online. Rachel Keller had earned a reputation as relentless in divorce proceedings, exactly what I needed now. Her office exuded professionalism, with its rich wooden furnishings and coffee aroma. She sat opposite me, a seasoned professional in her 40s wearing a crisp gray suit, her expression reflecting years of similar cases. I presented my evidence, the Decatur photographs, the financial withdrawals, the messages about Charlotte. Despite my inner turmoil, my voice remained steady, though my grip on the chair betrayed my tension. She examined my documentation thoughtfully, suggesting we had solid groundwork but needed more. She recommended professional surveillance while I maintained my facade. Though the thought of hiring a private investigator felt wrong, losing my children seemed infinitely worse. I completed the paperwork, provided payment, and left with her crucial advice echoing, maintain the deception for now. The following week inched forward painfully, each passing day testing my composure. Abigail fluttered in and out of our home, her excuses accumulating like discarded mail. I maintained my act, mindlessly surfing television channels from the sofa, letting her believe I remained oblivious. Then came the investigator's call, his voice crackling through the connection, measured and precise. He'd located Abigail and Henry at a weathered coffee shop along I-85, an understated establishment with deteriorating paint and worn-out booths. The photos he sent showed them huddled together, her fingers grazing his across a damaged coffee cup, his laughter captured in the grainy footage. My heart constricted. 2 days later, he documented them again, this time with Jasper accompanying them. They'd whisked him to a Marietta playground, a half-hour drive north, without my knowledge. My sons soared on the swings, beaming, while Henry provided the momentum, Abigail capturing moments like some distorted family memory. I examined my son's image on my screen, feeling nauseated. They were systematically erasing my presence from his world. I began secretly recording her conversations during my supposed absence. One evening, I concealed my phone behind the toaster while she wandered the living room, conversing with a friend. Her voice carried artificial weariness. She portrayed me as an absent father, claiming I was uninvolved, leaving her to manage everything alone. I remained silent, fists clenched. Another evening, I caught her whispering about property arrangements by the sink, running water, masking her conversation. The investigator's subsequent report helped complete the puzzle. Email evidence arrived in my inbox, revealing Abigail's negotiations with a Charlotte real estate agent. The brick ranch from Henry's photograph was being purchased, partially funded with our joint savings. My resources, my children's inheritance, channeled into their escape plan. Each revelation strengthened my resolve. I met Rachel again, her desk now laden with my expanding case file. She reviewed the latest evidence, a slight smile forming. She confirmed we had sufficient ammunition to destroy them, but emphasized strategic timing. She prepared a response to any potential divorce filing from Abigail, seeking full custody of Jasper and Sadie, plus complete financial restitution. I agreed, jaw clenched. This transcended mere victory. It was about preserving what remained of my family. I maintained the charade at home, each deception becoming increasingly burdensome. I continued our routine, driving Jasper to soccer, assisting Sadie with her artwork, exchanging pleasantries with Abigail during meals. Her gaze had grown more scrutinizing lately, as if detecting an underlying shift. One evening, she lingered in the kitchen, unnecessarily cleaning already spotless countertops. Her voice carried a gentle, yet probing tone as she inquired about my well-being. I dismissed her concern, blaming work stress, avoiding eye contact. She hesitated momentarily before retreating upstairs. Finally alone, I released a heavy breath. The investigator's latest update illuminated my phone screen. Footage of Henry transferring boxes into his vehicle outside the Decatur residence. Perhaps preparation for their impending departure. My instincts urged immediate confrontation to demolish their carefully constructed scheme. But Rachel's counsel resonated. Patience, Caleb. I'd meticulously gather evidence before striking at their most vulnerable moment. They designed this snare for me, but I'd redirect it toward them. The waiting concluded unexpectedly soon. Abigail initiated proceedings when a courier delivered divorce documentation to my construction site. I stood motionless, construction dust settling around me, examining her allegations. She portrayed me as negligent, claiming I'd abandoned our marital responsibilities, leaving her overwhelmed. She demanded complete custody of our children, half our possessions, and substantial monthly support. The papers trembled in my grasp. She launched the first offensive, unaware I'd been steadily preparing my counterattack. Rachel contacted me that evening, her tone measured and professional. She dismissed Abigail's filing as mere intimidation tactics, lacking substance. We convened at her office the following morning, surrounded by the distinct aroma of leather and ink. I presented my collected evidence across her desk: photographic proof, recorded conversations, financial records, and the Charlotte property agreement. She examined everything intently before leaning back with a knowing smile. She outlined our aggressive counter-strategy, promising to expose their deceptions. The meeting with opposing counsel was scheduled for Friday in a downtown conference room. I spent the intervening days maintaining strict routines, pacing our residence, kissing the children goodnight, preserving an illusion of normalcy. Friday dawned dreary and moist, with Atlanta's silhouette barely visible through the persistent drizzle. I entered the conference room with Rachel beside me, my posture rigid beneath my suit jacket. Across the table sat Abigail, ashen-faced and tense, accompanied by her attorney in an ill-fitting discount suit. Henry slumped in his chair next to them, having traded his usual cap for a creased dress shirt, his gaze fixed downward. The atmosphere crackled with unspoken accusations. Rachel deposited our substantial counterclaim onto the table with a resonant thump. Abigail's counsel perused the document, his expression hardening as he encountered the core demands: full custody rights and complete financial restitution. I observed Abigail's fingers intertwining anxiously in her lap, her grip betraying her tension. Rachel methodically presented our evidence, each revelation precise and calculated. She displayed photographs of their clandestine coffee shop encounters, played recordings of Abigail's complaints about me, and revealed their email correspondence with the realtor. Each piece of evidence struck decisively, causing Abigail's composure to deteriorate. Henry squirmed uncomfortably, his seat groaning, perspiration forming on his brow. Her lawyer attempted to dismiss it as innocent familial assistance, but Rachel silenced him with glacial authority. She highlighted the banking records showing $30,000 diverted to their hidden account, linked to the Charlotte property. She declared it wasn't support, but outright theft and conspiracy to transport my children across state lines. Abigail crumbled then, her voice quavering as she leaned forward. She insisted on misunderstanding, claimed I'd driven her to these actions, left her without alternatives. Her desperate eyes sought mine, but I remained impassive. Henry erupted suddenly, his fist connecting with the table, face flushed with anger. He shouted accusations about my distortion of events, my failure to understand. Rachel remained unfazed, simply sliding another photograph toward him, evidence of him loading his truck. She questioned the purpose of those boxes, if not for fleeing. He froze mid-protest, then deflated visibly. I broke my silence, speaking with quiet determination. I stated my requirements: Jasper and Sadie's custody, protected from their machinations. I insisted on complete financial restoration, offering Abigail supervised visitation strictly within Atlanta's limits. Her lawyer protested vehemently, but Abigail interrupted him. She whispered about potential negotiations, her trembling hands reaching across the table imploringly. I withdrew, standing firm. I reminded them they'd orchestrated this situation, and I wouldn't compromise. Rachel gathered our documentation, issuing a Monday deadline for compliance before court intervention. I strode out into the rain, droplets streaming down my face, my heart racing but resolute. Behind me, Abigail's attorney called out something about mediation, his voice fading in the downpour. Through the glass doors, I felt Henry's bitter stare boring into my back. No triumph filled me, only a hollow, gnawing emptiness. They'd initiated this confrontation, believing they could outmaneuver me. Now they writhed, ensnared by their own deception. I slipped in my truck, gripped the steering wheel firmly, and headed home to my children. Though the battle wasn't finished, I'd secured the initial victory. The confrontation in that rain-drenched conference room altered everything irrevocably. Abigail's legal team surrendered by Monday, her lawyer transmitting a formal withdrawal of their claims to Rachel. The court hearing followed fortnight later in a clinical downtown chamber, where the judge's gavel resonated like thunder. He examined my extensive evidence meticulously, his forehead creasing as he studied the photographs and financial records. Abigail occupied the opposite side, head lowered, destroying a tissue between her trembling fingers. His verdict came swiftly. I received full custody of Jasper and Sadie, restricting her to supervised weekend visits within Atlanta. She was ordered to repay the entire $30,000 she'd embezzled from our shared account, each transaction meticulously documented. Henry's conspicuous absence spoke volumes. She departed that weekend, her vehicle laden with possessions, rumbling along our residential street. From the porch, I watched with Sadie clinging to my leg and Jasper absently kicking stones nearby. The neighborhood gossip mill activated immediately, rumors threading through the suburban maze. News reached her warehouse colleagues, triggering severe repercussions. Coworkers shunned her, rearranged schedules to avoid interaction, leaving her isolated during lunch breaks. Through shared acquaintances, I learned she'd accepted a demotion with reduced pay. Her carefully constructed facade had shattered beyond repair. Henry vanished shortly after the court's decision. A contact from his trucking network informed me he'd relocated to Tennessee, occupying a modest trailer near Knoxville, severing all local connections. I imagined him in solitude, nursing a beer, comprehending the gravity of his decisions. He'd wagered on destroying my life and lost catastrophically. His ultimate destination meant nothing to me, provided he remained distant from my children. Jasper bore the weight of change most heavily. One evening, he crept into the kitchen as I prepared dinner, his sock-clad feet silent against the floor tiles. Perched on a kitchen stool, resting his small chin in his palms, he questioned whether Mommy now harbored hatred for me. His voice trembled, fragile and uncertain. Setting aside my knife, I embraced him, feeling his delicate frame beneath my arms. I explained that hatred wasn't the issue, but rather adult mistakes, emphasizing that our love for him remained unwavering. He acknowledged with a nod, tears threatening to spill, before wrapping his arms tightly around me. Sadie exhibited changes too, growing unusually subdued, clutching her teddy bear at bedtime. I extended our story time, finding solace in their gentle breathing. Their world had shifted, and I committed myself to restoring their stability. The Fosters, Abigail's parents, provided unexpected support. Her father, a retired mechanic with his characteristic gravelly chuckle, arrived one Sunday with his wife, bearing bags of groceries. They transformed my kitchen with the aroma of Italian cooking and warm conversation. They expressed their understanding of the situation, refusing to support their daughter's actions. Jasper and Sadie brightened considerably, eagerly devouring meatballs while laughing at their grandfather's corny jokes. Their presence mended an unseen void, offering stability amid chaos. Several months passed before Abigail reached out, requesting a meeting. We met at a diner along Peachtree Road, its neon signage casting intermittent light in the evening darkness. She appeared across the booth, noticeably thinner, with dark circles beneath her eyes. Through tears, she confessed her mistakes, describing her isolation, Henry's empty promises, and her loss of identity. Her cold fingers sought mine as she expressed regret beyond mere discovery. I remained silent, letting her words linger. My former self might have yielded, but that person no longer existed. Memories of Jasper's trembling voice, Sadie's silent distress, and the depleted savings surfaced. Withdrawing my hand, I acknowledged her apology while maintaining our irreparable breach. Her expression briefly hardened before dissolving into anguish. She departed silently, leaving me with only the jukebox's melody. The drive home brought a familiar ache, transformed but persistent. Victory and custody came at a profound cost. Abigail confronted her devastation, Henry his banishment. I faced an occasionally too quiet house and an unexpected life path. Upstairs, Jasper and Sadie slept peacefully, their dreams anchoring my resolve. I would reconstruct our lives methodically, one determined step forward. Life after the legal storm didn't immediately return to normal. Instead, it evolved gradually, like persistent wildflowers breaking through concrete cracks. I immersed myself in my career, eventually securing a promotion at the firm after countless late nights drafting blueprints under harsh office lights. The increased salary enabled me to exchange our old residence for a fresh beginning. A two-story home in a peaceful Atlanta neighborhood, featuring a spacious porch that accommodated Jasper's astronomical pursuits and Sadie's artistic expressions. The children adapted remarkably, their joyful sounds reverberating through unfamiliar walls, filling the empty spaces in my heart. Abigail found her path to recovery too, in her own time. She reached out via text one day, sharing news about securing a position at a boutique logistics company near her new place. When we spoke later, her voice carried a mix of composure and caution as she mentioned meeting someone, a banking professional with an affinity for mountain trails. I observed her reconstruction process, careful step after step, feeling quietly relieved. Not for myself, but for our children who needed a mother stable enough to provide support. They spent weekends with her now, court restrictions lifted, returning with tales of outdoor meals and her new companion's questionable humor. I listened attentively, acknowledged their stories, maintained my boundaries. Henry's unexpected contact arrived like a bolt from the blue. A message appeared in my inbox one evening, its subject line empty. Seated at my kitchen counter with cooling coffee, I opened it. Writing from Tennessee, he poured out revelations about therapy sessions and confronting the deep-seated jealousy he'd harbored since childhood. He confessed to envying my determination and family life, transforming that envy into something destructive when his own world crumbled. Rather than seeking forgiveness, he simply shared his truth, concluding with hopes I'd read it fully. I did, repeatedly, contemplating a response. Memories surfaced, him playfully tossing Jasper skyward years ago, now tainted by betrayal. I archived the email, leaving it unanswered. Some damages prove irreparable. Romance was on my agenda, yet Quinn Harper entered my life unexpectedly. an accountant at a colleague's firm. She combined intellectual sharpness with genuine warmth, her mid-30s vitality expressed in laughter that penetrated my melancholy. Our paths crossed at a casual gathering, she manning the grill while I engaged in water fights with Sadie. She never pressed for details, simply offered understanding when I shared fragments, accompanied by comfortable silence during coffee breaks. Our connection developed naturally, unhurried, respecting past wounds. Jasper connected with her immediately, sharing his celestial knowledge during nighttime observations. Sadie's acceptance came gradually, beginning with a shy offering of art supplies one wet afternoon. Watching their interactions, I felt an unconscious tension finally release. One Sunday, I packed the kids into the truck for an afternoon at Piedmont Park. The atmosphere pulsed with summer energy, the grass brushing against our legs as we settled our blanket near the tranquil lake. Jasper and Sadie darted toward the swings, their laughter echoing through the canopy of trees. Quinn joined us, her woven basket filled with freshly made sandwiches and homemade lemonade. We relaxed in the warmth of the sun, and I noticed myself genuinely smiling, no pretense needed. Sadie nestled beside me, her knees decorated with grass stains, commenting that Daddy seemed truly happy again. I embraced her tightly, confirming her observation with heartfelt sincerity. The wounds remained, but they no longer controlled my life. Abigail's decisions had extracted their toll. Her professional network still gossiped. Her career progression remained stagnant. Henry grappled with his remorse and solitude, barely resembling his former self. As for me, I navigated through the debris to find stable footing. Experience taught me that trust operates both ways, and while betrayal can leave you empty, it doesn't have to destroy you. Rising from our picnic spot, with Jasper eagerly pulling me to chase fireflies in the gathering twilight, everything became crystal clear. Life offered no guarantees of simplicity, but it revealed inner strength I never knew existed. The story concludes here. How did this ending resonate with you? Expected or surprising? Share your thoughts below. If this narrative touched you, hit like and subscribe for future stories. Thanks for joining this journey. Until next time.